Welcome back to the Living in Savannah channel. I'm James Headley. If you also happen to follow me on social media at my Landings Real Estate Guy page on Facebook or elsewhere, and I certainly hope that you do, you've likely noticed that I am not one to sound the trumpets every time I'm fortunate enough to help a client buy or sell a home. That said, I hope that today you'll indulge me a bit in this episode as I tell the story of a recent client closing. I'm doing so not to test the flexibility in my shoulder in an effort to pat myself on the back, but rather to give you, as a hopefully future client, a sense of how we might best work together to help you achieve a similarly successful result. Before telling that story, let me thank you as always for subscribing to the channel, sharing it with others, and of course liking any videos here that you might find useful. Certainly if you know of anyone who's interested in the real estate market here, if not yourself, do encourage them to get in touch. Be happy to talk with them about their particular circumstances. With that said, let's turn to this recent successful buyer story here in the Landings. The story of this couple's success story, let's call them Steve and Mary to protect the innocent or the guilty, begins about a year before their closing. After watching a couple videos here on the channel, they reached out with a couple questions as they were trying to evaluate Savannah versus other potential landing spots in the Southeast for their move from west of the Mississippi. Soon after narrowing the field a bit via email and text, we scheduled a call to get to know each other a bit better and discuss what exactly they were looking for in a new home, and just as importantly, what they weren't. Immediately after that initial call, I was able to send them a subset of homes that were on the market at that time in the Landings, as well as some information about other options like South Harbor and Grand Harbor. Getting their feedback on this initial set of homes that matched up reasonably well with what we had discussed in the initial call that could be of interest allowed us to further refine their wish list. And from there, I would send them just those new listings each morning that were aligned with their wish list, as opposed to everything new or updated on the market as they had been accustomed to in other home searches. It was rare that a week would go by without at least a couple of back and forth text or email exchanges or phone calls to discuss one or more of these listings in greater depth. For those that seemed like they could be potential buys, we would do video calls, or I would send them private video tours that I would record, focusing on those things of the greatest importance to them. And a few months into the process, they opted to come stay in the Landings on a discovery visit. Feel free to reach out anytime to hear more about the mechanics and the do's and don'ts of those. And we met in person for the first time. Given they're watching the videos and are working together remotely, though, it was like we had known each other for a long time. While they didn't see any homes worth making an offer on during that visit, the trip really cemented their decision that the Landings was the right place for them, and so we continued the process. It's worth noting at this point as an aside that the couple was ideally targeting a spring 2025 move due to some commitments in place in their current home. So even though we wrote a couple of offers along the way on those video homes, we did so strategically, knowing that the aim was either to find something that was such a great value now that they could not pass it up and would probably take some time to do some renovations before moving after their commitments out west were behind them, or they could be patient and wait until the new year and move on their original schedule. If you ask them, they will tell you that I was more often the one talking them out of homes versus pursuing something that I didn't think was a great fit. Versus pushing them to buy something sooner rather than later. Well, to avoid making this story even longer, that brings us to the great house that they just purchased. I had sent them this home when it first hit the market with some of my perspective on its pluses and minuses. We agreed at that time that it was worth keeping an eye on in case the price came down meaningfully. And lo and behold, that very thing happened on a Friday evening. That price drop of nearly $100,000 wasn't 12 hours old before I was touring it on video for them, and we were coming up with an offer that best positioned them vis-a-vis the other interest that, not surprisingly, was sparked by the attractive new price. I talk about writing the best offer elsewhere, so won't get into that or share any negotiating secrets here, but suffice it to say that Steve and Mary are excited to start their Landings lifestyle in 2025 in this amazing new home. If you'd like to explore how we might work together in a way that is tailored specifically to your circumstances, please do not hesitate to reach out anytime. Until then, please keep subscribing, liking, and sharing, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode.